Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Would you please all rise if you're able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if you will, please remain standing for a moment of silence for the second anniversary of the horrific Hamas attack on Israel, which was October 7th. And also on September 30th, we learned of the passing of Joel Channing of the Channing Corporation. Joel was a remarkable architect, a valued member of our community, and co-founder of the PGA Corridor Association. And along with his brother John, helped shape one of the city's first mixed-use developments. Our thoughts are with his family during this difficult time. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Tinsley?
Here.
Vice Mayor Middleton?
Here.
Councilmember Reed?
Here.
Councilmember Primoroso?
Here.
Councilmember Kemp?
Thank you. And are there any additions, deletions, or modifications?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to presentations. And for our first presentation, I'd like to present the Florida League of Cities recognition of Councilmember Reed as director from 2023 to 2025. The Florida League of Cities would like to recognize Councilmember Reed for her dedicated service on the board of directors. They recognize that your time, insight, and leadership have made a lasting difference. Your contributions have helped strengthen the programs and services that support our members, cities, and are grateful for the trust and support that you've shown the league throughout your time on the board. Congratulations, and you have a beautiful momentum.
Oh,
I was hiding underneath here, right here,
Wow.
which is beautiful.
Okay, no, oh goodness. Oh my goodness. No, thank you guys so much. Honestly, it's an honor and privilege to represent our city, our residents, and our staff at every single Florida League of Cities meeting. And I can't thank you all enough for this. We've got 6 more meetings to go. So thank you for this. This means the world.
Absolutely, it's a beautiful surprise. And next, we have another special treat. We have the Ukrainian American presentation to the City Council. And while Ms. Nadia is coming up to the podium, I had the distinct pleasure of meeting her and several members of the Ukrainian National Women's League that have immigrated here from Ukraine during the war, since the war. And thank you so much for coming to present this beautiful gift.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. Hello, everybody. My name is Nadia Kachelenko. I'm Ukrainian American residing in Palm Beach Gardens. I am also the representative of Ukrainian community of Palm Beach Gardens and Palm Beach County, and I am a member of Ukrainian National Women's League of America. It's a 100 years organization. We celebrate this anniversary this fall. The reason why I'm here is this document. This document is the proclamation of Ukrainian Independence Day issued by the mayor and city clerk of Palm Beach, the city of Palm Beach Gardens, and also the city council. It's very, very important document for our community, for Ukrainian American community, and specifically for the newcomers to the area after the war sparked in Ukraine. So we have about 5,000 people out of 300,000 newcomers to the United States. 5,000 of them are in Florida, and many of them live in the area. Proclamation of Ukrainian Independence Day is extremely important for those people. You understand what they went through to keep their spirit high, and only for us residing in Palm Beach Gardens, but also for all Ukrainians, they are fighting for freedom in Ukraine. So thank you so much, Ms. Mayor, the city clerk, and the council for issuing us this extremely important for us document. And to express the gratitude, we would like to present this poster to the city offices here. This poster is designed in Ukraine by the young digital art company called Arts for Ukraine. This company is specialized in designing the patriotic posters as such. So this poster comprised of a lot of meaning. It has a lot of symbols in this poster. There are 3 women standing here symbolizing the strength. Oh, thank you so much. So the 3 women standing here are symbolizing the strength and resilience of Ukrainian nation. They're holding sunflowers, and perhaps you know that sunflower is the flower of Ukraine. It's officially very symbolic for Ukraine. So the colors of this poster are gold and blue. Gold is also yellow, which are the colors of Ukrainian flag. What else is on this poster is the wheat field. As you know, that Ukraine used to be a breadbasket of Europe. No longer it is. Also, this golden ring with mosaics behind the figures over here, symbolizing the strength and protection and stoic of Ukrainian nation. We would like to give this to the city of Palm Beach Gardens to express our heartfelt gratitude for issuing and recognizing the Ukrainians coming from Ukraine and reside in the area, and also the Ukrainians that live in Palm Beach County and Palm Beach Gardens. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We'll come down and take a photo with you in the picture.
Yes.
And we do, on behalf of the City Council, we want to thank you so much for this beautiful gift. The symbolism is inspiring. You guys and your stories are very inspiring, and we really appreciate the thought, and we're grateful.
Thank
So
you
thank
very
you.
much, very
Would you
much
guys mind coming and take a
appreciated. Thank
picture? That was beautiful. And now moving on to comments from the public that are for items not on the agenda, and I do not have any comment cards, so we'll move on to the city manager report. Ron, do you have
Thank you.
something?
Yes, Madam Mayor, council members, just want a couple of announcements to make. It's been a great year for our city communications team. If you recall, a few months ago, I updated you on our public communications department and their 7 awards from a state association. Well, this time, they've gone national. I'd like to recognize our communications team, Candace, Allison, David, Kiki, please stand up. They have received a Savvy Award in digital, interactive, electronic newsletters for their design of the Pinnacle, which you've all received recently, and the city's monthly e-newsletter. They competed with cities all across the country with populations of 50 to 150,000 and came out in first place. The judges commented, and I quote, "The entry is captivating, fun, colorful, and clear. The creative design and layout paired with the interactive embedded content create an engaging newsletter I want to read." Please join me in congratulating our team, our communications team, for a well-deserved award. And if winning a national award was not enough, would like to invite our communications specialist, Kiki Hobbs, to the podium to explain to you an exciting new program that's going on as we speak.
Good evening, Council. I am very excited to let you guys know about our Florida City Week events and how we're celebrating this year. Florida City Week is a very exciting time. It's a wonderful opportunity to let residents know about all the wonderful things we're doing in the city. It's also a great time for residents and community members to get involved and engaged. So this year, we're pleased to announce that we are hosting our first Art in Public Places scavenger hunt. We have what I think is a very stellar AIPP program with lots of exciting and visually engaging artworks. So this year we have selected 6 of them to be featured in our scavenger hunt. If you follow us on social media at City of PBG, you might have seen some of these pieces, like the clues, have already been announced. So there are 6 in total. Each one corresponds to a different art piece. They feature zoomed in photos of the artwork, as well as a little poem about the artwork. If you recognize it, you think you know where it is, you can go see it in person. There's a You Found Me QR code. You scan it, you fill out the form, and you can win a prize. This is open to residents, it's open to non-residents, it's for the whole community. You can win up to 6 prizes, 1 for each artwork that you find, and you can collect them at our Florida City Week event. So on Monday, October 20th, we have the resident photography contest reception. That's here at City Hall. And then on Wednesday, we have Toast and Topics with Mayor Tinsley. That's at the newly renovated Burns Road Community Center. If you're excited, you want to learn a little more, you can scan the QR code up there. You can also visit pbgfl.gov/arthunt. That'll have all the information, rules, and regulations, and we've already had a couple people get out and visit these artworks and scan some stuff and earn some prizes. And we are very excited for more community members to visit our awesome AIPP project. So happy hunting.
That is awesome, thank you. We have such beautiful pieces of art. It's so awesome that you guys are showcasing them in that way. What a fun way. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Anybody need to pull anything from the consent? No? Okay, then could we please have a motion and a second on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Okay, moving on Tonight, we are holding quasi-judicial hearings on the following cases: Ordinance 13, 2025, second reading and adoption, voluntary annexation; Resolution 9, 2025, Avenir Health Park site plan amendment; Resolution 71, 2025, master signage program for the Legacy Place planned community development; Resolution 78, 2025, amend the signage program and landscape plan for the Alton Medical Center. This means that the City Council is required by law to base its decision on the evidence contained in the record of this proceeding, which consists of the testimony at the hearing, the materials which are in the official city file on this application, and any documents presented during this hearing. The council is also required by law to allow cross-examination of any witnesses who testified tonight. Cross-examination may occur after the staff, the applicant, and other participants have made their presentations and will be permitted in the order of the witness's appearance. It is necessary that anyone who testifies at the hearing remain until the conclusion of the hearing in order to be able to respond to any questions. If you plan to testify this evening or wish to offer written comments, please fill out a comment card and give it to the city clerk. The city clerk will now swear in all persons who intend to offer testimony this evening on any of the cases.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thank you, Patty. We're going to move on to Ordinance 13, 2025. Would the clerk please read the title?
Ordinance 13, 2025. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, annexing pursuant to a petition for voluntary annexation, one parcel of real property comprising of a total of 0.40 acres, more or less, located on the east side of U.S. Highway 1, approximately 0.6 miles north of the intersection of PGA Boulevard and U.S. Highway 1, in Palm Beach County, Florida, as more particularly described herein and as depicted on the map attached hereto, declaring that the voluntary annexation petition bears the signature of the owner of the real property annexed hereby, amending Article 2 of the city charter by redefining the corporate limits, providing for transmittal to the Florida Department of State, the Palm Beach County Clerk of Court, and Palm Beach County, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date for other purposes.
Thank you, Patty. I'm going to open the public hearing and ask for any ex partes.
None.
No.
Nope.
And I don't have any either. Has anything changed since the first reading?
Good evening, Madam Mayor. I'm Martin Fitz, Planning and Zoning. I've been sworn in. There have been no changes to the ordinance since first reading.
Thank you. Does anybody want to hear another presentation? Okay. And since we have I do not have any comment cards on this item, so I'm going to close the public hearing and bring it back for a vote. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Ordinance 13, 2025, second reading and adoption.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Nope. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Okay, we're going to move on to Ordinance 14, 2025. Would the clerk please read the title?
This has been pre-recorded.
Oh,
Madam Mayor.
sorry, I forgot about that. Play the title.
Ordinance 14, 2025, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, amending Chapter 78 Land Development at Section 78-43, Review of Applications for Development Order Approval, by repealing Table 1, Development Order Review, and Table 2, Development Review Schedule, and readopting same as revised, and adopting new Note 3 to Table 2, further amending Chapter 78 by repealing Section 78-423, Authority, and readopting same as revised, to update the plat approval process to be consistent with recent revisions in state law by designating the Planning and Zoning Department as the administrative authority to review plat submittals and the city manager as the administrative official to approve plat submittals. Further amending Chapter 78 at Section 78-424, Jurisdiction, by repealing subsections B and C and readopting subsection B as revised. Further amending Chapter 78 at Section 78-427, Enforcement, violations and penalties, by repealing subsection B and readopting same as revised. Further amending Chapter 78 at Section 78-428, exceptions, by repealing subsection C and readopting same as revised. Further amending Chapter 78 by repealing Section 78-429, requirements in lieu of plating, and readopting same as revised. Further amending Chapter 78 at Section 78-441, general application procedure, by repealing subsection C and readopting same as revised. Further amending Chapter 78 at Section 78-446, plat review and approval process, by repealing subsections A, D, and E, and readopting same as revised. Further amending Chapter 78 by repealing Section 78-447, signing and recordation of plat, and readopting same as revised. Further amending Chapter 78 at Section 78-461, required subdivision improvements, by repealing subsection G and readopting same as revised. Further amending Chapter 78 by repealing Section 78-482, monuments, and readopting same as revised. Further amending Chapter 78 by repealing Section 78-493, street names, and readopting same as revised. Further amending Chapter 78 by repealing Section 78-593, plat, vacation, and readopting same as revised, providing that each and every other section and subsection of Chapter 78, land development, shall remain in full force and effect as previously adopted, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date and further purposes.
Okay, thank you, Digital Patty. I'm going to open the public hearing and ask if anything has changed since the first reading.
Good evening again, Madam Mayor. There have been no changes since first reading.
Thank you. Would anybody like another presentation on this item? Nope. Okay. And I do not have any comment cards on this item, so I'm going to close the public hearing and bring it back for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 14, 2025, second reading and adoption.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Moving on to ordinance 15, 2025. Would the clerk please read the title?
Ordinance 15, 2025, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, amending the City of Palm Beach Gardens budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024, and ending September 30, 2025 inclusive, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
Thank you. I'm going to open the public hearing and ask for a staff presentation. Hello, Erin.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council. For the record, Arian Panzak, Finance Administrator. Tonight, I have a very brief presentation for Ordinance 15, which is a cleanup budget amendment that will adjust the prior year's budgets, revenues, and expenditures, which a local government is permitted up to 60 days after the end of the fiscal year to amend the prior year's budget. So for tonight, we are proposing to amend the budget to record the capital lease purchase of 3 PL Customs medium-duty ambulance totaling $1.4 million, authorized under Resolution 8, 2022. This amendment will record both the loan proceeds and the capital purchase and will have no impact on fund balance. It's simply just for reporting, financial reporting purposes. And the debt service has also already begun, so the debt will be paid off within the next 2 years. And lastly, as I said, it's very short. We will come back to council in a few months to adjust fiscal year 26 budget to carry forward all those unspent balances on our capital improvement projects and open POs that still have services ongoing, and as well as adjusting the beginning fund balance to actuals once we have a chance to close out the books for last year. So staff does recommend approval of Ordinance 15, 2025 as presented on first reading.
Thank you, Ms. Arian. Appreciate that. I do not have any items on this. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Arian? Nope. Okay. I'm going to close the public hearing and ask for a vote and/or discussion, a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 15, 2025, first reading.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
What?
No? No discussion?
No.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. Moving on to Resolution 9, 2025. Would the clerk please read the title?
Resolution 9, 2025, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, approving a site plan amendment to construct a 26,200 square foot medical office building within the 3.11 acre future development parcel of the Health Park at Avenir that is located within the Workplace District, Parcel D, of the Avenir Plan Community Development, PCD, located on the north side of North Lake Boulevard, approximately 0.35 miles west of Coconut Boulevard, as more particularly described herein, providing conditions of approval, providing one waiver, providing an effective date, and for other purposes.
Thank you, Patty. I'm going to open the public hearing and ask for any ex partes.
None.
None?
None.
And I don't have any either. And now we'll call the petitioner. Hello, George, if you'd like to
Yeah.
begin your presentation.
Good evening. For the record, George Missimer with Kotler and Hearing, here tonight on behalf of the applicant and property owner, and I have been sworn in. We're here tonight requesting your approval of a site plan amendment to the approved site plan for the Health Park at Avenir for the future development area that was approved as part of the previous plan. Our development team is consistent with the previous application, so we were lucky enough to have the same partners in design, and it really helped in making sure that this phase 2 is extremely consistent with phase 1. So again, we are amending the 13-acre site plan to add a new 26,000 square foot medical office building. Just briefly, the location, it is within Parcel D of the Avenir PCD, so we are just on the north side of North Lake Boulevard. And as we discussed previously, one of the significant portions of this approval was that we were providing a new health facility that filled a hole in the services in the area. So looking at the overall Avenir master plan, it is in the southern section right off North Lake within Parcel D, or the workplace parcel. The access interior, there's multiple access points through the workplace district. This is all consistent with the previous materials that you saw before, just going over it. To summarize, the subject site is on that northern portion of the approved site plan. So it's approximately 3 acres out of the original 13. And so this is your previously approved site plan. The site data, just going through some of the numbers, we are consistent with all land development codes and regulations, both of the cities as well as the Avenir design guidelines. So here's the new site plan. In the area of the 26,000 square foot building, you'll notice that the building is designed consistent with the previously approved development pattern, putting the office building directly up on driveway number 3 with the parking in the rear of the building. In terms of access, we're not modifying the previously approved access points. We are providing a future cross access to the north for any development that is developed just to the north of this site. From a pedestrian standpoint, there's an extensive network of sidewalks connecting both to the internal driveway 3 as well as to North Lake Boulevard, and then our extensive amenity sidewalk going around the lake and connecting each building both to the health part or to the neighborhood hospital and then to each other. We are proposing an additional covered parking consistent in design with the previously approved covered parking areas. Likewise, some of our pedestrian amenities. There were substantial areas approved as part of the phase 1 site plan, including the lake, the individual plazas next to the building. We are proposing a new pedestrian plaza next to the new medical office building, as well as some new pedestrian coverings within the internal sidewalks. And those details are all consistent with what was previously approved. The architecture, which is the same as what's previously approved. This building is extremely similar to the one right next door. It's just a little bit bigger, but in terms of materials, colors, the height, everything's very consistent. A really beautiful project. From a landscape perspective, we are consistent in both design as well as plant palette, so very consistent through the whole project, primarily natives, very sustainable design, and it's going to be really beautiful. We are asking one waiver. It's a signage waiver for a new emergency sign. This is in the Phase 1 area. So in terms of a location, it's within the roundabout in front of the main entrance. And this was brought on by a request from Jupiter Medical Center, who will be the operator of the neighborhood hospital. And they were concerned that they wanted to make sure that the emergency department entrance for patients arriving in their own vehicles, it was really clear. They didn't want people going to the ambulance entry at the north side of the building, which they would not be able to gain access into the building. So they wanted to make it really clear the front entrance there at the roundabout is where the emergency entrance is. So that's the request for the sign. It is larger. The request for the waiver is because it is a larger square footage than what's permitted for a directory sign or directional sign. So it's just over 10 square feet in size. So that is the waiver request. And that concludes the presentation. I can go through a number of other details, but we'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys have. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Does staff have a presentation as well?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. No additional staff presentation. Staff does recommend approval of Resolution 9.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for the petitioner?
No, it looks good. I always love seeing the development in Avenir and it all coming together. So I believe it fits, the look and feel and design and the aesthetics of everything. So thank you.
It's wonderful to see more development happening out west in general. So that, and there was a presentation today at the PGA Corridor by Rosa Schechter, who's the developer for Avenir, and talking about, how much is going to be there and is now there to some extent for all of the residents of Avenir and Palm Beach Gardens and even the residents to the west to utilize, whether it's the grocery store getting rebuilt or now the access to emergency care. As far as the waiver for an emergency sign, as we've all been on the way to an emergency, and sure is always nice to be able to see a big sign to know where to park. So no issue with the waiver whatsoever. This is great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Oh, and that was with previous Mayor Litt here, I have to say thank you for the sustainability measures as well. We always love to see that. Thanks.
Thank you. I agree with my colleagues here on the council, and it is very much needed use out west, which will also help reduce traffic on North Lake. So it's good to have these additional uses that are needed to support the western residents. Thank you. I do not have any comment cards on this item, so I'm going to close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 9, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We had our discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to Resolution 71, 2025. Would the clerk please read the title?
Resolution 71, 2025, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, approving a miscellaneous petition for the Legacy Place Planned Community Development PCD to update the master signage program for the commercial portion of the PCD. The subject site being generally located on the south side of PGA Boulevard, approximately 0.10 miles west of Fairchild Gardens Avenue, as more particularly described herein, providing waivers, providing conditions of approval, providing an effective date, and for other purposes.
Thank you, Patty. I'm going to open the public hearing and ask for any ex partes. I'll start with the Vice Mayor.
I spoke to the applicant and their representatives.
Thank you.
None.
Done.
And I have no ex partes as well. And hello, Ms. Nicole.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the record, my name is Nicole Plunkett with Kotler and Hearing, and I have been sworn in. Tonight's petition in front of you is Resolution 71, 2025, which is Legacy Place Master Signage Program. And so with all of the happenings and refreshing with Legacy Place through the past few years, they've made a number of different updates to really bring in some very impactful tenants, and they have a couple more coming in the future as well, just to revitalize the center as many of the different commercial developments here in Palm Beach Gardens are doing. And so with the refreshing of the previous landscape areas, refreshing of parking spaces, this master plan really fits in as that next piece of the refreshing of the site to really make it a very desirable destination, an even more desirable destination than it is today, and very desirable to bring in different tenants here into the city of Palm Beach Gardens. And so our request within this resolution is to amend the master signage program for Legacy Place. And with that, we're also requesting 4 waivers for the different signages, which I'm going to go through. I also wanted to point out that I have 2 lovely guests next to me tonight. Caitlin Griffin and Gussie Gordon, both with Hudson Advisors, are with the ownership team at Legacy Place, and they flew down from New York City to be here with us on this very, very rainy Thursday. So thank you for being here, and they'll be able to answer any ownership, operational questions, any questions you have about Legacy Place, they can answer as well. And so with our waiver requests, just very quickly, each waiver, and we'll go through each one through a visual, which will make a bit more clarity on it, but just very quickly, waiver request number 1 is we're requesting 1 additional tenant identification on our ground signs. Waiver number 2 is an increase of allowed height for our directory signs. Waiver number 3 is an increase of the square footage of the copy area for our vehicle directional signs. And waiver number 4 is related to our directional signage, and that is related to an increase of height of those different types of signs. Legacy Place is located at the corner of PGA Boulevard and alternate A1A, and also just on the east side of Interstate I-95. And Legacy Place was approved back in 2001 as a planned community development, which incorporates just a high number of different mixed-use commercial, office space, restaurants, and again, a lot of very desirable restaurants. And over the past few years, you've seen a couple of new tenants come through, including EOS Fitness, Yoga Joint, Jet Set Pilates. Tampa General is currently in the process of doing construction on their tenant suite, and of course, Eddie V's is also under construction as well. And so going through each of the signages, I'm going to start with the ground signs. Within the slide, you see the photograph of the existing ground signs and the proposed ground signs. This particular type of sign is simply replacing with which is already existing. We're not proposing any new ground signs with this petition. We're simply replacing with new in its exact locations and really providing for an updated color palette, something that's going to be a lot more complementary with the new painting that they're going to be doing at Legacy Place as well. So this, again, it's all part of this big full vision that continues to move forward, and this is just one of those puzzle pieces. And you'll see on the graphic here, we are proposing for 6 tenant sign spaces, as 5 are permitted, and so waivers. And part of that request too is that there's so many tenants that are internal to Legacy Place and they don't have the frontage on PGA Boulevard, and so that really allows it to, again, be a desirable item for tenants coming into Legacy Place, but also aligns with the success and the future of those tenants as well. With our directional signs, we do have 3 different types of directional signs. The first one I'm going to talk about is a valet directional sign. When we worked with city staff about a year ago on the new valet, which is already completed over at the Eddie V's building, we needed to address the valet directional signs, because something that's very important within Legacy Place is, I know we've all driven through there and wondered, how do we get from point A to point B? And again, this valet directional sign will be really critical in bringing folks off of PGA Boulevard and some of those main roads to get them to that valet safely and quickly and not have them kind of roll around the site. And the request for the waiver is an increase in the permitted height for this particular sign. The next type of sign is the vehicle directional sign, we are providing for 11 signs. And again, they're just replacing the existing. And so with these updates, we are providing for waivers for an increase in the permitted height and also in the maximum copy area. And you'll see in the master signage program that there are kind of two versions of this sign. One of them has a slightly larger copy area just to provide for more tenant names underneath. And the other thing you can kind of see from looking at this photograph here, that the existing letter height of the existing signs are a little bit smaller. So we're increasing the letter heights to have better visibility for those vehicles that are coming through Legacy Place. And then we're providing for a new type of sign. This one's called a district pylon directional sign. Now, this type of sign here is to really kind of break Legacy Place into bigger pieces. So on the southern western portion of Legacy Place, we have more of those big box stores. So we have the Best Buy, the EOS Fitness, Total Wine, Container Store. And so that breaks it into the south side. And then the north side becomes some of those smaller tenant suites, some of those more specialty suites where, again, just to provide an additional, I'm gonna call it George because he gave me a really good term to use on this. He called it additional navigational tools, which I agree with that. It truly is an additional navigational tool. And in the evenings, those blue strips on the sides within the graphics there, and there was a nighttime graphic in your packet, those light up as well. So again, just an additional navigational tool to help folks who are visiting Legacy Place find their way around. And then with our directory signage for pedestrians, we are providing for 6 new signs to replace the existing. And again, the waiver here is just related to increasing the permitted height to allow for readability and comfort with pedestrians that are utilizing those signs. We're providing for updates to the parking garage signs as well. There's no waivers requested within these parking garage signs, but we are providing for garage blade signs, also for parking signs, for entrance and exit signs. And there are a couple of additional enhancements that we as the applicant are committing to within this request. We are working through repainting all of Legacy Place with a more modern color palette. We recently worked with staff on a minor administrative amendment and recently got approval on that, and painting has already commenced on the entire Legacy Place. And we anticipate this work to be completed in about 10 weeks. And this was also a condition of approval, which we're kind of already getting started on because it's an important piece of this future of Legacy Place. Item number 2 is that all light fixtures within the parking garage will be replaced and updated. And again, I believe that's another condition of approval. And Legacy Place is already working on getting that set up and getting that implemented as well. And the third is an update to the landscaping around all of the ground signage. So within this requested petition, we're providing for landscape plans for every single one of those ground signs to just provide an additional update, which will complement those signs. And then just my last update, because we get a lot of questions on it, and I want to be able to provide some information on it. We get the question, when is Eddie V's going to be done? When can I go get some delicious seafood and steak? Well, Eddie V's construction is about 40% complete. We anticipate the work to be done by February with a grand opening in late spring of 2026. And we get questions about Tampa General too. Tampa General has completed their interior demolition, and they will begin an interior build out shortly next. And so with that, we thank you for your time tonight, and we request your approval on this master signage amendment, and our team is here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Nicole, appreciate it. Does staff have a presentation as well?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Staff has no additional comments, and we recommend approval of Resolution 71, 2025, and the 4 associated waivers.
Thank you. And I do not have any comment cards on this, so I'm going to close the public hearing and ask, does our council have any questions for the petitioner or staff?
I just have one question. On the Legacy Place ground signs where you're going to 6 names, so I think that looks a lot better, but is the Legacy name going away, or are you going with the logo only on that sign? Just
So
curious.
I'm going to back it up. It's a great question. The Legacy Place, you can see in the graphic, is more on kind of the column of the sign and spun a little bit sideways. So you can see on the graphic on the screen here, it's still placed there.
Okay.
So we're not losing that identification as Legacy Place as a whole.
Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, really good. No, that's a beautiful sign, a lot better than what's there now, so all aboard, let's do it.
Agreed.
Vice Mayor, do we have any?
I commend the owners and the applicants on everything that's going on there. It's been a long time. Legacy Place has been there a long time. It definitely needed a refresh. Love the directional signs, love the new commitment, love who's coming in there to, revive the place entirely. Great presentation on everything, and I love the navigational tools, so I love that terminology as well. Just, out of curiosity, is there a Starbucks going in there? Is there one in there?
I was thinking about that. Oh, sorry. I'm sworn in, Caitlin Griffin. These assets that were developed in 2004, 2006, unfortunately, they come with a lot of encumbrances from other anchor leases. So Barnes & Noble, because there's a Starbucks in there, they actually prohibited, right, Starbucks. But Gussie and I negotiated that out. That took some time. Out of the Barnes & Noble lease, Starbucks is and was interested in the front half of the Jose Banks building, conditioned on getting a pylon sign. So it's one of those chicken and the eggs. We couldn't get them there until we had the Barnes & Noble and the signage, but there is phenomenal national demand for the center. A lot of it was conditional on signage.
It's a good plug for them, so.
And no, but whether it's Starbucks, we've been really with the health and wellness, with the fitness, with the daytime traffic and the much needed traffic in the morning. We're working really hard to get a morning and breakfast use and coffee and full-time breakfast. Definitely a void in the market. And as what the developer on Avenir mentioned this morning, you want to get the right operator and the right use. Doesn't have to be national. So I think we're being appropriately choosy. Everything else going on in this market, from office, multifamily, medical, is only helping drive the quality of the demand on this. So while we like to see businesses open, right, I think us being patient on the right use is the right thing. But this is a big step forward, and now that the tenants see the painting and Eddie V's hammers, we're getting a lot of good looks. So we're excited.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Very good. Councilmember Reed, do you have any comments or questions?
No, it's nice to hear that, and I'm sorry about the weather. It's not usually like that here. No, it's nice to hear that you're understanding the culture of coming here. It's important to understand that we do want those quality products that will stick around for a long time, and I understand the encumbrances that come with, having, I can only imagine. But we appreciate what you're doing. We all love Legacy Place, like the Vice Mayor was saying, and we want to see it prosper, and our residents have other places. I mean, as 10% of our population continues to grow annually, right? We need these services, so it's great. And it's a great mixed use. You have everything, and you're right there next to residences. People can walk. It's exactly what the city's looking for, so thank you.
I will add, and Gussie, correct me if I'm wrong, but since EOS opened, you can measure foot traffic data via, cell phone pings and a software called Placer AI. Our foot traffic year to date is up about 60% year over year, with all these morning uses. So we show that data, right, to future tenants that kind of want to wait till things to open to commit. So we're getting there. I'm in New York, so I'm impatient, so I want to get there sooner.
We're cool with that. That's okay.
We're working on it.
No, that's great news. Thank you.
Thank you. And I agree with my colleagues here on the council with their comments. Actually, that was one of my questions was I've frequented this development for many years and, of course, appreciate any wayfinding in the maze of a parking lot, especially this one, because I still get turned around sometimes. And I was curious with the landscape, with the additional paver systems that you put in there and all that, has that shown, have you seen the increase in the vacancy rates since you've done some of this work? And
Absolutely. Technically, with Eddie V's and Tampa General, we're actually at 94% leased occupancy, and we acquired it at about 65%.
That's great
so,
news.
Totally. But I think the high impact vacancy, right, are those restaurants on the water. Is that Jose Banks building? We have a little bit on PGA with the 2,000 square foot old chiropractor. So there's still about 25,000 square foot of vacancy, as well as the out parcel building that was TGI Fridays that we demolished. So we still have wood to chop, but from where we were to where we are, it's about 65 to 94.
Great to hear. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And finished discussion, so I will bring it back for a motion, please.
make a motion to approve Resolution 71, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to move on to Resolution 78, 2025. Would the clerk please read the title?
Resolution 78, 2025, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, approving an amendment to the master sign plan, landscape plan, and site plan for the Alton Medical Center within Parcel B, Biotech District of the Alton Planned Community Development, PCD. The subject site being generally located on the west side of Pasture Boulevard, 0.5 miles south of Donald Ross Road, as more particularly described herein, providing conditions of approval, providing waivers, providing an effective date, and for other purposes.
Thank you, Patty. I'm going to open the public hearing and ask for any ex partes. We'll start with Vice Mayor.
Yes, I did meet with the applicant and their representatives.
Thank you. Councilmember Reed?
I received a text message from Jeff Atwater, but we did not have a conversation regarding this.
Okay.
Yeah, on 9/17, I did do a tour of the hospital with the CEO, Gina Melby, also with Kevin DeLallo, the group vice president, Kimberly Jarrell, who's the new chief nursing officer, and then Jeff Atwater from Ballard Partners. And also want to note the several emails and conversations from Alton residents as well that we've gotten.
Thank you. And I will also ex parte that I have met via a tour of the hospital with Mr. Kevin DeLallo, Mr. Jeff Atwater, Ms. Gina Malvey, and also spoke with several residents from the development, in particular Aaron Pisani, Yo Chen, Liam Quinn, Glenn Saliba, and Shelley Freeman. Okay. Now we will move on to the presentation.
Good evening. I missed the swearing in. I apologize.
Okay. Mr. Tuma needs to be sworn in.
Your fail.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, ma'am. Thank you. Good evening. Ken Toom with Urban Design Studio. My address is 610 Clematis Street, West Palm Beach, Florida, 33401. And I know that all of you had correspondence, you've had meetings with neighbors, that some of that correspondence definitely been shared with us, and particularly the representatives of the hospital behind me. And we recognize that this is an important topic and understand that. And we want to make sure that we are doing the right thing here. So today, our client has had the opportunity to meet Vice Mayor. I believe you met with some residents today. Our client was also invited to that meeting also. And after that, we had a couple thought process. We know that all of you have met with different residents and gone through it. We then Kevin called me and said, Ken, I think we may have a solution that we need to work on amongst ourselves that's different than what's in your packet. So that solution is going to show the removal of that sign on the south side. But everything else is going to remain the same, and we're going to be requesting an additional sign. We, after all that soul searching, Mr. Dale and Mrs. Melby all called me and said, this is a good solution. We had the opportunity all afternoon. One of the reasons why I was late is I was printing stuff. I mean, this is going to be a hot thing that you're going to see tonight. And we have the opportunity to work with your staff. And I'm going to walk you through the changes that we're proposing from what was submitted. And I'm going to walk you through it very quickly, but I'm going to take my time also, because I want to make sure you understand what changed, okay? So first thing I want to start with, there is no sign on that south side any longer. So to me, that was 99.999% of all the comments that we received. So let me walk you through, starting one. First, the subject site, we're all familiar with it, located within the Alton PCD. The subject site is Parcel B, which is now called the Allen B Medical Center. The site plan is approved for a 300-room hospital and a medical office building of 80,000 square feet. So this is what is currently approved today. If you took no action today, this is what is currently approved. And I'm going to take my time on this because this is what's changing. Sign number 1 on the west side, currently approved. There is an album on the album on the south side. That is number 3, currently approved. And then on this side of the hospital, there's a sign that's approved. All of those today are approved. So if there was no application, this is what would get constructed. What you have in your packet, what we proposed is the following. We were going to relocate those signs. The same number 3, exactly the same. Actually, when I walk you through the details, we've actually made it smaller. It was 121 square feet. It's going to be 106 square feet. We then proposed sign number 2, which was the one of all the challenges that the neighbors to the south believed that they would have light pollution based on that. And then sign number 1 is on the north facing carrier. So that's what we have in our packet. That's what's proposed in front of you. Let me show you where we've landed in the middle ground here. So we're going to keep sign number 1 on the west side. It doesn't change except for the height and the length of the sign, and I'll walk you through that in detail. Sign number 3 remains the same. It actually gets smaller. Sign number 2 remains the same. Again, just getting a little bit bigger and a little bit wider. The letters get a little taller. And then we've eliminated that sign. Our ask for this is we want an additional sign on the north side. We believe it is very important to have signage and definition for people when they come in their most important time, when they're under stress coming to a hospital. Signage is critical. So we're requesting that an additional sign be added, so it's a waiver for a 4th sign. So we're keeping the 3 signs that were already approved in the exact same spot, and we're asking for a 4th sign on the north side facing the carrier building. Therefore, there is no more light pollution or proposed light pollution. I'm not necessarily agreeing with light pollution, but the light pollution to the south, that is no longer there. Let me walk you through in more detail. I'll come back and go through this again because I recognize this is different than what's in your packet. So on the screen in front of you, this is Alton Medical Center as you look at it from I-95. And today, it's called the Allen B. Medical Center. So in green is what the sign was originally approved for. In red is we're asking to relocate that sign to the screen wall to make it higher. That was in your packet. And then also to make it bigger. And why are we making it bigger? One, when we came to you a couple years ago and got the approval for this, it was called hospital. So today it is the Allen B. Medical Center. So they got longer. And then it also got taller. The sign letter height went from 3 feet to 4.5 feet. Again, to create great visuals. So that's on the west side. The next side is the already approved sign number 2, which is in the approval. Again, if we did nothing today, this sign could be constructed. Identified in green is that sign. Identified in red is its new location, pushing it to the screen wall, making it bigger to fit the name that's in front of you, the Allen B. Medical Center.
Miller.
Allen B. Allen B. The Medical Center, whatever it's called today. Don't forget the Miller. And here's the big Miller. This is on the south side on item 3 here on the right-hand side on the Allen B. Miller Medical Center here. And then this is the sign being proposed. And then this is the new sign number 4 being proposed on the north side. Waiver for you, an additional sign. Everything else is the same as the other 2 signs that I presented. So the big ask tonight is we're requesting that additional waiver to allow for that additional sign. And this is the view of the north side, looking at it from the roadway. You can see how the sign fits in very nicely in that area, and you can get a good feel of how the north side looks. And again, this is facing carrier, and this is the waiver for the additional sign. So the updated request is on the screen in front of you. I am going to read it because it changed about a minute ago. So just because I made just a couple changes, let me update it real quick. First thing, We are adding one directional sign. I will show you that in a second. We are requesting to add one hospital wall sign. That's an additional sign on the north side. We're increasing the size of 4 wall signs. The 4 wall signs include the medical office building sign, which I will show you in a second. We're increasing the proposed letter height. That's the 3 feet to 4.5 feet. We're reducing the size of one wall sign. I want to be very clear. We're reducing the size of one wall sign. I will show you that. We are also removing one wall sign from the medical office building, which, by the way, sits due south, which would face that neighborhood to the south. We had already had that as part of our proposal. And then finally, we are requesting one temporary sign banner. And that sign banner is really important. It's a coming soon sign for the hospital, and that is adjacent to I-95. So I'm going to walk you through a few things here. First thing, the new directional sign. As we got further through in the construction and development process, we realized that we needed to add one more directional sign, identifying kind of this north area as hospital staff only. It's consistent with size and letter type that was approved for the other signs. This will help create better circulation. The next one is the medical office building. If you recall, there is a separate building, an 80,000 square foot medical office building. We are requesting that sign, guess what? Get a little bigger and a little longer because of the name Allen B. Miller Office Building. I'll get that right. And so we're requesting that. That also has so that is a waiver also. On that same building, on the south side here, at this location, there's an existing approved signage. We're removing that sign. There is no sign on that corner any longer. So there will only be one sign on the medical office building of Allen B. Miller, and that will be on the north side. And this is what it looks like. We are requesting also a temporary sign. This is a waiver. That temporary sign on the screen in front of you is the coming soon, April of 2026. So very excited to hear about 2026. This hospital will be open. It's important to have this sign. Look, these signs are going to go up early. It's just the nature of construction. What you don't want to have happen is someone coming to the hospital before it's open. This sign is very important. It's for multiple reasons, and that's the reason why we're placing that on there. There are landscaping enhancements on the screen in front of you. I'm not going to walk through them, but we have worked with your city forester. Mr. Dinsmore was unable to be here this evening, but he spent a lot of time working with your city staff and coming up with some potential solutions for additional landscaping on the western side along Interstate I-95. And then we also added some additional trees on the buffer to the south. So on the screen in front of you are those proposed changes, and I'm not going to read them off to you. So on the right-hand side, this is the existing landscape buffer, obviously needs some maintenance. On the bottom left-hand side is the proposed buffer in about a 5-year growth pattern. Now, I do want to walk through those slides one more time about the changes, if that's okay, so we all are clear, including myself. So on the screen in front of you, 1, 2, and 3 are currently approved. Those are the signs today. Like I said, we stop, we don't do anything today. Those signs get constructed. This is what we proposed. We basically relocated those signs, but kept the number the same. And this sign right here was the one that was causing all of the challenges with the neighbors to the south, sign number 2. And this is our proposal. We're leaving everything the same as it is approved. We're requesting one additional sign on the north side, so when people are driving down the road, they see that sign and they know where that hospital is. Everything else are waivers associated with the name Allen B. Miller, and then also the letter height increasing from 3 feet to 4.5 feet. And that is my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions. I could go back through these slides if there are any open items on them also. And I apologize for doing this on the record. This has been all afternoon, and appreciate working with you too, helping us get through this also. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Does staff have anything that they would like to add to the presentation?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Nick Lobdell, Planning and Zoning. We are prepared to present before the Council. All right. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the Council. This is, again, Nick Lobdell, Planning and Zoning, and I have been sworn in. So we're going to cover the proposed modifications to the Alton Medical Center signage. This is Resolution 78, 2025. And to go right ahead and get started, as previously mentioned, this is within the Alton PCD. This is the Alton Medical Center. And just to note, this was originally approved by the passage of Resolution 2 in 2023. This approval provided for not only the site plan approval, but also the master signage program, which included waivers for building identification signage. And so, to move on to today, the applicant is proposing modifications to the building identification signage. They're also proposing that temporary grand opening banner, as well as the additional directional sign. The applicant is also seeking waivers to accommodate these requests. As justification for those waivers, the applicant is proposing significant enhancements to the existing southern and western landscape buffers. And one thing we really like to note about this site, this project, is its evolution throughout time leading towards its approval. Initially, the applicant came forward and presented the plan on the left, where a significantly more intense hospital was located nearby the southern boundary. This hospital was 450 beds, it was significantly taller, and both staff and the neighbors raised their concerns about this initial project. And the applicant came forward. They worked very closely with staff and the neighbors in order to provide for a better solution for the site plan. They actually relocated the building significantly north to the point where the nearest point to that southern boundary was 898 feet away. So the bulk of the hospital, the remainder of the wings, are even further, reaching distances of 900 to 1,000 feet. The site was further modified with additional accommodations. Now, in addition to that setback, in addition to the reduction in the intensity of the hospital, the applicant also provided a significantly enhanced southern buffer on the boundary of that site. This buffer was double the required 25 feet for a total width of 50 feet. It also included a supplemental 6-foot-high wall placed on a 6-foot-high berm. This provides for an additional 12 feet of vertical screening within that buffer. Now, this 50-foot wide double width hospital buffer on the southern boundary joins with the residential buffer, which is also 25 feet. This creates a total buffer width on that southern boundary of 75 feet. Now, as part of staff's analysis, we looked very closely at this buffer, and we actually went on site, and the photos at the bottom of the slide are reflective of the current conditions of that buffer as of today. Now, those pictures reflect a buffer with significantly mature landscaping that is filled in. It provides for significant density and visual screening between the two sites. This screening also provides for noise mitigation throughout the two sites. So to move forward to today with what the applicant is proposing, the request is for modifications to the approved hospital signage. This slide represents the initial proposal made by the applicant, which included that previously mentioned relocation. However, we are still looking at modifications to the approved signage, and we are still looking at an approval for a temporary grand opening sign. To cover the approved signage back in 2023, the hospital was approved with 2 name signs as well as a logo sign. These signs were approved as placeholders because the name and the logo had not yet been determined. And so the applicant is coming forward today with the official name, which is the Allen B. Miller Medical Center. Initially, this slide reflects their original proposal to relocate those signs. However, as stated in Ken's presentation, the signs that are currently approved are depicted on the site plan on the left in blue. All 3 of those signs will remain in their proposed locations with this proposal. And in addition to those 3 signs, an additional sign is proposed for the north side of the building. That's depicted on the site plan on the north side of the hospital building. And so, in order to accommodate the official naming of the hospital, there is a requested increase in the square footage as well as the letter height for the hospital name signs. This is part of the waiver request that the applicant is seeking today. And as part of staff's analysis of the proposal, the applicant actually provided a useful graphic demonstrating a sightline analysis of the original proposal for the signage. This is in order to help review that southern sign. So this actually demonstrates the length of distance measured from an observer standing behind the southern boundaries buffer, staring up at the hospital's formerly proposed southern sign. And as you can see, that sign was set back significantly far. That's over 1,000 feet, which is approximately 3 football fields away. As for the hospital logo sign, that is proposed to remain in the same location it was approved in, and as Ken stated, it is proposed to actually be reduced with the official selection of the hospital's logo. As for the grand opening sign, it is proposed to be placed on the western facade. This is in order to advertise the anticipated grand opening in 2026 of the hospital, and they are seeking a waiver for the extended duration of the temporary sign's placement, as well as its increased mounting height, as well as its increased square footage. Now to shift gears and look at the medical office building, the applicant is proposing to remove one of the 2 previously approved signs. That sign was previously approved to be placed on the southwest facade of the building, and with this removal, they are actually proposing that as justification to seek a waiver to modify the size of the sign on the north facade of the building. So as we can see here on the left side are the previous approvals for the signage of the medical office building. That southwest sign is being removed, and only remaining is the north facade sign, which will accommodate the official title of the office building, which is the Allen B. Miller Office Building. Here's a rendering of what that will look like once installed and integrated within the site. And lastly, we do have our additional directional sign. This directional sign is designed to enhance the wayfinding and navigation throughout the site. This sign is just designed to demarcate employee-only areas with the helicopter, as well as the helipad, as well as the employee parking. This is consistent with the remainder of wayfinding signage on site, and the applicant is not seeking any waivers for this sign. As for the waiver requests, the applicant is seeking a waiver from section 78-285 for the additional copy area as well as the additional letter height. This is for the hospital and medical office building signage. And the applicant is seeking a waiver from the temporary sign code in order to allow for a increased square footage and additional time frame and a higher mounting height for that temporary grand opening sign. Now, this waiver table reflects the initial proposal that the applicant came forward with. And so in addition to these 2 waivers, the applicant is seeking an additional waiver for that additional sign on the north of the hospital with this proposal. Now, as justification for the requested waivers, the applicant is proposing significant enhancements to the western and southern landscape buffers. So for the western buffer running along Interstate 95, the applicant is proposing 34 sable palms, 14 Eagleston hollies, 4 mature live oaks, 88 cocoa plums, and 20 wax myrtles. All of these species have been carefully selected in order to maximize their benefit to the buffer's visual screening as well as noise mitigation. As for the southern landscape buffer, the applicant is proposing 8 additional sable palms. All of these plantings will be installed at the heights depicted in the middle of the list, and will be allowed to continue to grow vertically and enhance the vertical screening of the buffer as they mature and develop. As for the southern buffer, those additional sable palms are woven into the fabric of that enhanced buffer. Some will be placed closer to the berm in order to provide for additional height and vertical screening that southern buffer currently provides at this time. That southern buffer has a significant number of approved canopy trees. It has mature live oaks. It has additional collusia, and it currently provides for significant screening of the site at the present time. As for the western buffer, the applicant did provide a rendering of what the western buffer will look like at a 5-year growth period with proper maintenance and irrigation. And as you can see, this is a view facing inward toward the site, and that western buffer is providing for full screening of the hospital site. Now, one thing we really like to emphasize and note is that the site is an ongoing construction site. So with that, there are anticipated impacts with noise as well as dust. These are to be expected with active construction sites and as standard. However, we just really like to emphasize that the approved site plan for the project provides for a fully landscaped southern parking lot. This parking lot has landscape islands with planted canopy trees. These include oaks. These will provide for further visual screening of the hospital as well as noise mitigation throughout the site. Now, in addition to this, to the added vegetation that's throughout that parking lot, the medical office building is also positioned to further screen the hospital from views facing north. So the approved plans really do provide for significant screening and noise mitigation. The site was publicly noticed pursuant to code, and this project was heard before the September 14th PZAB hearing. It was recommended for an approval with a vote of 7-0. Now, this slide does represent the initial proposal for Resolution 78, wherein the applicant requested 2 waivers. However, it's just important to note that the applicant did come forward today with a request for an additional waiver. This request was heard late this afternoon, but staff did fully review and does not oppose the applicant's request for an additional waiver for added signage. Staff still recommends approval of Resolution 78, 2025. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. We do have comment cards on this item. I'm going to call those people that have requested to speak on this petition. The first is Lisa Deckelman. If you can please come up to the podium, state your name, your address, and if you've been sworn in. And if you haven't been sworn in, we'll be happy to do that. And I think Lisa was not sworn in at this time, so the city clerk will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. And just your name and your address for the record.
Lisa Deckelman at 13416 Machiavelli Way, Palm Beach Gardens in Alton. My home is actually the home that faces the lake, closest to the south barrier wall, with the landscape that has been somewhat installed to block the view of the hospital. And at the time that I believe all this was approved, there was a sight line. And the sight line showed that we would only see about the top 2 or 3 floors of the hospital. The landscaping that's been installed does not provide much coverage at all. And in fact, probably half of those sable palms are dead or dying. I see that you have suggested that there will be additional plantings along that wall, sable palms. I don't think it's going to be enough, and it does not provide enough coverage from both the light, the sound, or the aesthetics, the view. So I would like to request that we revisit the landscape plan on that south wall to provide possibly different trees, maybe larger live oak right at the wall line that would actually provide some height and some density. The sable palms really just don't quite do the job. So that's my request there. The second is the maintenance. I know this doesn't have to do with the plan itself, but it's not been properly maintained. It's in bad shape. There are plants and trees that are dying. Weeds grow amok. It's quite unsightly. So someone needs to maintain it. I'm not sure if that's the hospital's responsibility or the county or who, but I would appreciate it if there would be some effort put into the maintenance of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next, we have Liam Quinn. You please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record, and if you've been sworn in, and after that is Naish Patel.
Thank you. Liam Quinn, 13452 Machiavelli Way. I have already been sworn in. And I want to give a call out to Marcy and to Bert for having taken the time to engage with us. It was really appreciated. I know you're all busy, and I appreciate Kevin and his team for making the changes that have been made last minute this evening. So that's very much appreciated. But again, to add to what Lisa was saying, the issues with light pollution and noise pollution, they're one and the same. And so we ask if we could avoid the sable palms because they just don't seem to do anything. If we could have some dense canopy trees. I understand it's an economics issue. Oak trees cost about $2,500 or so, and a sable palm is about $300. And I think that's maybe what's driving some of this. But you know, we would appreciate, and I think you've heard from the petition group. We have artistry people. There's over 1,000 homeowners who do have voting rights and are asking the council to really step up and protect us a little bit here. And we appreciate the compromise. We appreciate all the things that the hospital is going to add. It's mostly good. I just want to see if there's any other notes here that I had. Yeah, so we would like the council to approve the signage waivers on condition of a little bit more evidence-based light mitigation and noise mitigation. So that dense vegetation, we were hoping to hear from the forester. I think he was at the last meeting, but we didn't get to speak. We didn't get to ask any questions. So we would like somebody to just modify that a little bit and make it better. We all want to get along, but there's a lot of light coming from there, and we're really appreciating that the other two buildings will now no longer have signage facing us, and hopefully that's a permanent thing that can't be rescinded at some point in the future, because that's a big no-no for us. So thank you.
Thank you. And next is Naish Patel.
Naish Patel, I've been sworn in. Address is 13484 Machiavelli Way. It's the last home facing 95 and looking on the south side, looking at the building. I truly appreciate what Ken and Kevin and the hospital are doing, and appreciate that they're listening to us. Truly appreciate taking the time for to our concerns, but I have a feeling like my colleagues, my neighbors spoke exactly. My concerns are the same, and I've sent a letter to all of you with the pictures showing from my bedroom and balcony. Lights are going to be a problem for us. I will definitely guarantee it. If you want to see it, I'm happy to show it to you, because this is not, in my opinion, is not acceptable, because it's going to really ruin our quality of life. I don't know if you could see it from here, but this is what I see from my bedroom and the balcony. And some of the sites that planning and zoning showed directly from the ground floor, looking at the hospital. I wish they would go back and relook at it. They're welcome to come to my house and look at it to see exactly what in real life, what it looks like, and not make assumption based on academics. Really take a look at it, be in person, come to my house, even our neighbor's house, take a look at it from all different angles and different views. I definitely, if they are going to plant trees and whatever, I suggest and I recommend somebody expert in forestry or agriculture, whatever. I'm not the expert, but look at the situation and mitigate some of the issue. I have no problem hospital being there. I actually support it, but I would say conditional approval, because if they're going to plant something, if it's going to die, who's going to call them out? Who's going to be responsible for that? I truly am extremely concerned about what I'm seeing from my back of my house today. I don't know what it's going to be 2 years from now, if they're not taking care of them, the trees or the lights or whatever. I don't know. I don't know if the hospital would even listen to me, would even talk to us. I have nothing to go with. So I suggest, council, please take a look at it. Look at the photos that I sent you. I welcome you guys to take a look at it from my house. look at it directly, you can see it, the light, even the sign that they made changes, even on the side, I have a feeling that we'll still see some light pollution. The noise pollution is something else that I'm hoping with the plantation and vegetation may take care of it, but I'm not convinced. I'd say conditional approval is probably in order, and I welcome you guys to come and take a look at my house, and I'm happy to planning and zoning team to even take a look at it. Look at the real issue, not look at from the academics or from the engineering perspective. Happy to have you guys on my home and take a look at it. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. Okay, I do not have any more comment cards on this item, so I'm going to close the public hearing and bring it back. Does anybody have any questions for the petitioner and/or staff?
Yeah, I can start. I've been brought up to speed. I've toured the hospital. I've met with the applicant, met again several times, met with Jeff several times, met again this morning with Mr. Pisani. And his main concern was the south-facing sign. And that's really the only main concern he had. He said he could live with the landscaping and the density. He was concerned a little bit with the density, but he wanted to make sure it was going to be monitored, and if it could be clear about if it was going to be monitored by the HOA or if it was going to be monitored by the hospital. And also he was very, complimentary to the hospital and staff and the communication and everything like that. His main concern was that south-facing sign. And I met with him, with Jeff, with Mr. DeLallo, and myself, and Natalie, and Martin. We were in that room, and he said, that's what he said. So I commend the staff and the applicant on their proactivity to making these arrangements to change the signage at the last minute, because you really have gone above and beyond, and thank you for doing that. Having said that, I hear a little bit with the landscaping, and I'm wondering if we can talk a little bit more about the landscaping. You guys are the experts on the landscaping. I know it's hard to visualize these things. People have been living in construction, and these things take time. A little bit about sable versus oaks versus density forestry, and I know it's really hard to visualize these things, but how we can help visualize and also maybe clarify some of the questions about who's monitoring this and how they're going to be maintained moving forward. So thank you.
Absolutely, Madam Vice Mayor. I'm happy to address that now, if that's the will of the council. I'm going to ask Nick, can you please pull up the landscaping slide that shows the enhancements? So first, I'd like to say that our city forester worked very closely on the landscape palette for this petition. And so when we were looking at specific species and the specific location, it was done with the utmost consideration of the existing landscaping that's on site, and trying to choose the most appropriate landscaping to not only provide the best screening, but to be able to be healthy and thrive. And so, sometimes if you plant too densely, you end up choking the landscaping, and it ends up not doing well. So the strategic landscaping is important. So the landscaping that Nick has just pulled up in the screen, I think is a really great exhibit, and it actually spells out very clearly what is being proposed. So Nick went into detail on that southern buffer. So along that entire south buffer, you have a 75-foot landscape buffer with a 6-foot berm, and then on top of that 6-foot berm, you have a 6-foot wall and landscaping on both sides. Within that landscape buffer, you have oak trees, you have hollies, you have sables, and you have different heights of live oaks. So that goes all up and down that southern buffer, which Nick mentioned is double the requirement plus joins the 25. So it's doing, just keep in mind, this is a young buffer, all right? So this project is pretty new. It was just approved in 2022, and the site is actively under construction. So, for the time in which it has been placed, the landscaping is doing well. This landscaping will only continue to grow. If you look at if you look at Artistry across the street, if you look at any of the parkways in our city, you will see the growth. It takes a little bit of time before
these trees grow up and provide the actual dearth that one can expect. But for now, this buffer is doing very well. So those sable palms are, a palm tree is not a palm tree is not a palm tree. There are a number of different palm trees that can be selected. You have Alexanders, you have Montgomerys, you have all of these palm trees that serve different purposes. Sables, their diameter can get to be pretty significant. Our city forester acknowledged that, sable palms, the diameter of the head of those sables can be up to 15 feet at after they've been installed. So the palette has been very carefully looked at and recommended. We have looked at all the trees, the location. The city forester has gone out on site and has walked this with the applicant. So we feel confident that what you see on the screen reflects a very thoroughly vetted proposed landscape plan. So that's the landscaping, number one. Maintenance. I-95 buffer it's a PCD buffer. So when Alton was master planned, you have a master entity that is responsible for the master common elements. So you do have the master association, the homeowners association, that, from what we understand, maintains that buffer. All right. So then the southern buffer is a different entity. That's the hospital. So, no matter who is the responsible entity, the city's performance codes ensure that if there is an issue, we will make sure that landscaping standards are adhered to. And I think you can see in the city and our incredible code enforcement team, they really do a great proactive job addressing landscape maintenance issues. So the last thing I'll say is that the site is an active construction site, right? So you have irrigation breaks, you have a site that's recently, that's ongoing activity, and so that tends to sometimes it just takes a little bit of time for that landscaping to grow in. So I think in the planning and zoning meeting, I did actually mention that some of that understory vegetation is dead and dying in the 95 buffer, and so the applicant is aware of that. And with these additional trees that are being planted in the I-95 buffer, that's all going to be cleaned up. And in the resolution itself, there's a tight time frame. If it's approved by the city council this evening, the applicant has committed that they would go right away to start installing this landscaping, and they have a time frame of 60 days from the time of approval. So they're very anxious to get going with that landscaping. So, Madam Vice Mayor, I hope that answers some of the questions.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'll let somebody else go.
Thank you. Councilmember Reed, do you have any comments or questions for the applicant or staff?
Actually, the Vice Mayor did a great job taking almost all of my questions, which is great, very thorough, no problem with that. I just want to clarify, so as we are with our landscaping code, this is already exceeding it by 142%, and so they have a buffer of their own, then we have our buffer. And okay, and what you just mentioned about timing and replacement of dead shrubbery is helpful. Thank you. I might come back for more comments depending on what everyone else decides to talk about. So just go ahead.
Yeah, okay, I just have a few. In terms of the irrigation along 95, is that in place and working from the Alton PCD? I mean, is there actually irrigation there? So when this new landscaping is planted, it's...
Yes, I do believe that the irrigation is there.
Okay.
And so from the latest that I'm aware of, the irrigation is installed.
Okay. Yeah. In terms of the office building, let's just confirm no sign on the south.
Correct.
Is there a parking garage, or is it just an office building with parking around the perimeter?
Parking, it's a four-story office medical building with surface parking.
Okay, thank you. In terms of the landscaping, 60 days to put it all in, that's the south side and the west side?
Yes.
Okay. Sign number 4, is that the same size as sign number 2?
Yes.
It is, on the north side. Okay. The office building is 500 square feet away. I've always been kind of fascinated about why there's not a wall there. And when I met with staff and we talked about how really the forestry side of it is a lot better. And as I go home at night and I go, that's really true, because I live 3 houses west of 95 and there's a wall, but there's no trees on the other side of that wall. And I swear I hear all that noise. Mm-hmm. It's brutal coming over the wall. So I'm hoping what's planted there as it grows and develops and comes together, a lot of that noise coming in from that corridor is going to stop. So I'm a believer of that. I know people keep talking about walls and why isn't there a wall, and I think if you go to Artistry sometimes, I think if you go in there and ask them, they could probably hear some noise over that wall, louder than what they thought it was going to be. So I'm a believer that whatever they plant there, let's get it full, let's get it growing, let's get it irrigated, and get that filled in as soon as possible for the residents, and then also for the beautification of the hospital site. Okay, the 60-day time frame was important for me, so thank you for answering that. That's all I had.
Thank you. And so the only other question, I didn't realize that the western, so that would be the 95 buffer, is maintained by the Master Association? Or am I incorrect? It is maintained by the hospital?
It's a PCD buffer, so it's a Planned Community District buffer. It's my understanding that there's a high-level maintenance agreement that Coulter has entered into with Northern, and so the responsibility is borne upon the HOA to address that. The HOA would be the one who would receive any citation if there was a
If there was dead material
if there was any issue.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then, so then my question is, whomever is maintaining it, the I-95 buffer, or actually the southern buffer, if that's the case, whoever is maintaining either of them, isn't it their prerogative to allow that shrub material, whether it be clusia or cocoa plum, which is a native material which will grow quite tall? Could they maintain that at a 10-foot height, so to speak, just like Frenchman's Creek did for their, buffer to the maintenance facility at a higher height than I know the installed height was 5 foot as shown in our backup material, but to maintain it in perpetuity, they could still allow that to grow and grow and grow, correct?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, the clusias, they grow extremely tall. There is nothing in this development order. There are no restrictions for maintaining that shrubbery at a low height, 4 or 5 feet. It can grow and grow and grow.
Okay, so that's another great option, because those two plant materials, both of those native plant materials would act as a median buffer from the wall. In fact, if the wall is at 5 foot height, then it could actually double that buffer by allowing that material to grow and be the mid-range between the 1-story and actually up to the 2-story. My neighbor's clusia hedge is up to his roof line, because that's what he wants to protect him from his neighbor's house. So, and it's clusia, and it grows just as nice as long as it's maintained properly. So I appreciate you saying that, and I do want to say thank you for modifying the plan in such a quick time frame. Thank you to staff for going out on site, specifically looking at where the holes were in the buffer to pinpoint those locations for the material. I think that's important. It's important to continue to have a dialogue between the neighbors and between the non-residential, the hospital, because you guys have to live together for a very long time. And I do appreciate you eliminating the south side, the southern facing sign, because that seems to be, out of the many emails I received, that seems to be the sticking point from everybody, and eliminating the sign. I know that the office sign was actually more facing towards 95, but eliminating that also, because it was somewhat southern facing as well, was very good. It shows that you guys are acting as an excellent neighbor, as you have been from day one, by moving the building and the loading and the other things that you've done. So we all want to get along. We all want everybody to be happy. The residents have to live there, or not forever, till they sell their house. But they have to live there and look at the hospital, and hopefully, not have to go for emergency purposes, but it's there if they need it. And it is a family community. So appreciate the plant palette, the buffer, everyone working together, and the change that was done very quickly to appease everybody. And it's always good to have a compromise, because that nobody wins perfectly, but everyone has a compromise. That means it was an excellent plan. I closed the public hearing already, and I just want to make sure we have a motion, and I think the motion has to be as amended by the applicant, or as presented and amended by the applicant, because there was a change, correct, Max?
That is correct. There were a couple of additional waivers, so it should be as amended by the applicant and presented by staff, and we will, but just, that can be the motion, just to make you aware. We have this now on the record, we have all these materials, and we'll make sure that the resolution is amended properly so that all this is properly documented.
Thank you, Max. So may I please have a motion to approve as presented and amended by the applicant and presented by staff? A motion?
So moved.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh,
A
sorry.
motion and a second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes 4-0. Okay, moving right along to Resolution 67, 2025.
Resolution 67, 2025, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, approving the appointment of regular and alternate members to the Art and Public Places Advisory Board, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
Thank you. Do we have a presentation?
No, this is up to the council to make their
Oh, the
recommendations.
appointments.
The
I'm sorry.
appointments.
Okay. Apologize for that. You are correct. So since there is no presentation and we have our list, may I please have a motion and discussion? Anyone
I
to
would like
nominate?
to submit some names first, if that's okay, or would you like us to make a motion first? What are you asking for?
I would like to see if you want to submit names, that
Sure.
would be great.
Okay, lovely.
A nomination of names and then a motion.
Before we do that, I do want to take a moment to thank Eric Jablin, James Garvin, and Gail Coppage for their service. For Resolution 67, 2025, for appointments to the Art and Public Places Advisory Board, please consider the following names: Jennifer O'Brien, Edward Penza, Nina Kraus, Amy Stepper, Gretchen Kukoza, and Aubrey Muncie Jr.
Okay, any discussion on those names? Okay,
Second.
then could we have a motion to approve those members?
I'll make
So
a motion
moved.
to approve.
We have a motion, two motions, and do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have two motions and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. So now moving along to Resolution 68, 2025. Would the clerk please read the title?
Resolution 68, 2025, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, approving the appointment of regular and alternate members to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
Thank you. Okay, so now do we have any nominations, any names? And then if so, would someone like to start?
If I could, I'd love to also appreciate the time of Matthew Zudan, Sharon Zimmerman, and especially Keith Ehrenheim for their service on the Park and Recreation Advisory Board. And an addendum, I would like to encourage a motion of Resolution 68, 2025, with the following appointments to the Park and Recreation Advisory Board. If we could have Sarah Murray, Dan Turner, and Robert DeGloria, and Carolina Barefoot.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Okay, now we're moving on to Resolution 69, 2025. Would the clerk please read the title?
Madam Mayor, there has to be a correction on Resolution 68. The reappointments were not read.
The reappointments, okay, so then therefore, do we need to reappoint?
Oh, sure.
Reappoint Matthew Kamula, Faith Meyer, and Katie Noon to the
Yes.
board, along with the new appointments previously stated. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you,
Work
ma'am.
for you, Matt?
Yes.
Mike's looking is funny.
Okay. So now moving on to Resolution 69. Would the clerk please read the
Resolutions.
title?
Yes. Resolution 69, 2025, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, approving the appointment of regular and alternate members to the Planning, Zoning, and Appeals Board, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
Okay, thank you. And do we have any nominations?
Les, go ahead and nominate to maintain our regular members, Zachary Seth Mansfield, Robert Savell, Linda Hess, and alternate Peter Robbins, making the current composition of the board Timothy Coppage, Nadia Spivak, Howard Brown, Charles Millar, and that is it.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Okay, moving on to Resolution 70, 2025. Would the clerk please read the title?
Resolution 70, 2025, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, approving art in public places AIPP for the hospital within Parcel B of the Alton Planned Community Development PCD, generally located on the south side of Donald Ross Road, west of Pasteur Boulevard, as more particularly described herein, providing conditions of approval, providing an effective date, and for other purposes.
Thank you.
Hi, good
Hi there,
evening.
good evening.
Valentina Broglia with Urban Design Studio on behalf of UHS for the Alton Medical Center Art in Public Places. So as you heard earlier tonight, the hospital is east of 95 along Pasteur Boulevard. The development was approved under Resolution 2, 2023. It approved 300 hospital beds, a heli stop, and a medical office building. So the proposed art sculptures, there are going to be a total of 4. 2, which will be the Tree of Life, and 1 will be the Unit C Bluebell Wildflowers, will be on a bed of landscaping, bougainvillea and calusa, to avoid climbability. And then Unit B and Unit A will have a fountain as their base. All sculptures are going to have a plaque nearby, which will have a description of the artist, who is here tonight and will present the art later on, and how all these sculptures interact with one another. So Unit C and the Tree of Life will be proposed along Pasteur Boulevard within Pasteur Park. It is a pedestrian-friendly park. The other 2 wildflower units will be on the fountain, are more towards the center of the hospital campus and towards the entrance. So they are within different locations around the hospital campus. The requirement, the 1% AIPP requirement is met as the estimated vertical construction cost is about $200,364,459, and the requirement for the 1% is $2,036,400. I'm sorry, $2 million. There's a lot of numbers up here, and it's late. So $2,003,645, and I will now turn it over to the artist to talk about the artwork.
Thank you, Valentina. My name is Dan Shaughnessy IV. I'm a sculptor. I've been sworn in. I'm happy to be here in front of you guys again. This is one of the newest projects DSIV has been working on for the past few months. The Tree of Life is one of the most complicated sculptures we've worked on. I'm really excited to present it to you guys and show you the full details of this project. As you know, my name is Dan Shaughnessy IV. I do large-scale sculptures. Of course, we have future projects and also the Palm Beach Garden Blooms in Palm Beach Gardens. For projects like this, when we have to install sculptures in Category 5 wind gust locations, we build teams with the best engineers, the best fabricators, and some of the best lighting teams. Just to kind of go into details for the team, you guys already know about Ruhu and EOS Light Media. They worked on the Palm Beach Blooms, as well as they're working on Solaris and helping me with Lodi, which is another project that's coming to Palm Beach Gardens. The most special aspect of this team is Urban Art Projects. I've been chasing them for about 4 years now. They are one of the best large-scale fabricators in the world. They are known for making the Oscars, but internationally they're more known for building some of the most complicated large-scale pieces in the world. Their foundry is in the United States. It's in New York. They have one of the last foundries in the U.S., and their foundry in particular is able to cast some of the largest sections in the world. So they're able to build very, very big, complicated things. The Tree of Life, I have to say UHS has been very supportive of this whole project. They've kind of given me all this guidance and kind of let me have free reign on this idea. And I will say, we've looked at multiple options and ideas for this project, something that's befitting to Palm Beach Gardens, something that beautifies the city, but also ties into the concept of the hospital and what the hospital is doing for the community. For me, and I have to tip my hat to Urban Design Studio, I analyzed those landscape drawings they worked on, and if you really look at them in detail, they're quite over the top. There's so many different types of vegetation and trees. Probably, I don't even know what the number is. It's for, it's like 50 or 70 or something like that.
You might need to ask Rob.
Yeah. But I took inspiration off that, and, I looked at these drawings, of course, and the southern live oak was something that kind of stuck out to me. Of course, when I was introduced or was selected for the project, I didn't know anything about Alan B. Miller or his career in the healthcare world. But the more I analyzed it, the more I was actually blown away by the man. He has amazing awards and accolades. I think one off the top of my head would be, I think he was the America's Top 100 Innovative CEOs. I forgot what year that was, but it's a long list. So, I wanted to create something that exemplified his career, but also kind of tied to the community as well as beautifying Palm Beach Gardens. So to me, it was, you guys know me. I like to make flowers and animals and things like that. But to me, it didn't seem befitting to give Alan B. Miller, a flower or something like that. To me, the southern live oak is a very interesting tree. It can withstand hurricane winds. It's one of the longest living trees in the world. Another weird fact was, there's over 100 different species that actually live in and around the southern live oak. To me, it kind of exemplified everything that Alan B. Miller stood for. So it was kind of an easy choice, and luckily UHS was very supportive in the selection. And as I said, probably for the past 4 months, I've been in and out of engineering meetings for this project. It is every square inch of this project or tree has to withstand 170-mile-per-hour winds. So even the leaf and the leaf attachments all have to be engineered. And it's fascinating to kind of sit in these meetings and watch these guys be, especially the leaves. There's always, you see them put these, the tree in these 3D programs and see how it reacts. And it's, I'm getting gray hairs on my head, and I know they are too. But the project is truly, I think, one of the most difficult projects we've created. And the great thing about working with someone like UIP is it's an internationally known project. This will kind of elevate, not only DSIV, but all the projects here in Palm Beach Gardens. And just to kind of talk a little bit about the sculpture itself, the way I wanted this tree to act or this environment, what I said about urban design, they created this wonderful sanctuary. How do we kind of add on to that, the cherry on top? And, what we really ultimately wanted to do was create something that a peaceful location, whether it's staff members, people that are actually visiting the hospital, or even people in the community can go to this location, the tree or any of the bluebells, and it has this meditative kind of relaxing experience. Just to give you little details about the tree is 100% casted from 316 marine grade stainless steel. It's roughly 18 feet tall with a 20-foot canopy. There will be roughly about 330 leaf clusters in this tree, and as you can see, there's a 16-foot planter box underneath it. All the vegetation going in there is to hinder people from going in there. I would like to see someone try. Apparently, it would be very, very painful. And as well, we'll have lights actually shining up on the tree and the lights integrated in the tree. And just to kind of tie into what I was saying before, we really want to create this meditative, relaxing sanctuary. We know where the location of this tree is located, so we don't want it to be too distracting. It's more for a nice, calm location for people to relax and kind of have a moment. And just adding on to the lighting technology, we're working with EOS Light Media, who work on some of the greatest light shows in the world, whether it's the Super Bowl or the Sphere or wherever location. We really want to give you guys something that's special that, of course, is not too distracting, but is also very appeasing. And then talking about the bluebells, the idea was, there's all these species of plant life that actually live underneath the tree the bluebell wildflowers is actually one of those species as well. And we wanted to, lean into this idea of the sanctuary and how do we actually create that. And Unit A and Unit B will actually be in this mirror kind of glass fountain, beautiful, with these simple light systems in it. It's supposed to be a very relaxing, actually I need to go back, sorry guys, I skipped a little bit. There's actually a motion sensor in this planter box. So the whole idea is when you actually interact with the tree, you're actually interacting with all the bluebells in this location. So if I go back to the, let me see here. I don't have the site plan, I'm sorry. So you can see what the tree is actually right below the Pasteur Boulevard, that yellow circle. So whoever interacts with that location is reflected to the rest of the campus, or the rest of the hospital location. Just creating this kind of connection and that everything is, connected together. And like I said, Unit B is the same as Unit A. Will have a mirror fountain, just slightly smaller, 3 flower heads made from 316 stainless steel with light systems inside. And this is just an overhead view of what the fountain would look like. And this is Unit C. It will not have a fountain. This is actually in the same location, the same strip as the Tree of Life. Will have the same type of vegetation as the Tree of Life. And like I said, another relaxing location where staff members can go and have a moment. And this is just a quick little drawing or rendering of how complicated the tree is. But regarding maintenance, it's basically like all the sculptures we install in Palm Beach. It's 316 marine grade. We highly recommend not to use any power wash on these sculptures. If there is any blemishes or damage or anything like that, contact us and we will. But similar to the Palm Beach blooms, this tree will have a satin mirror finish. So if you went to the Palm Beach blooms today and you looked at them, it would be a very similar kind of finish. And we really felt like that was befitting for the sculpture itself. And that's it. I'll let Valentina jump in and finish it off.
So I did just want to add that we did receive unanimously approval from the AIPP board last month. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any staff presentations as well?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Staff does not have additional presentation, but does recommend approval of Resolution 70, 2025.
Thank you. And I do not have any comment cards on this item. Does anybody have any questions or comments for the artist, petitioner, and or staff?
Good to see you again. So another beautiful project. So, and this one is so expansive around the hospital property. So it's very nice how you incorporated all the art into the fabric of the hospital to bring it all together. So it's nice to see that. Question about the maintenance. You said a lot of things you shouldn't do to maintain it, to wash it and don't use pressure. So how do you maintain it?
Just
how
like
do you,
all
how
the
do you
other
wash it?
sculptures like the Palm Beach blooms or anything like that, you would actually approach the sculpture with a hose.
Okay.
You don't want to use any type of power wash to kind of blemish the surface of the material, just to keep it, we want this material to last for 20 or 30 years. We don't want any issues with that. But going over with a light hose over the sculpture should be no issue, just like the Palm Beach blooms.
Okay, great, thank you. It is beautiful, so thank you for sharing.
Okay. Councilmember Reed, do you have any comments?
How lucky are we that you've come to Palm Beach Gardens? Thank you. I think the blooms are iconic with Palm Beach Gardens now. I don't see a headshot for anyone in Palm Beach Gardens these days. It doesn't have it in the background. So I think we'll see more of this, and just want to thank you for taking the time to understand our community, to really look into the history of Alan B. Miller. I too was just blown away by his history and his family and everything, and you're pulling it in together with the Tree of Life. And I think he would have liked a flower, but the tree is exceptional. So no, this is, we're so glad for you. DSIB is consistently making wonderful products. We can't wait to see everything that's coming out. And I won't be in office in May, May 22nd. You guys said it'll be out, so please send an invitation so I can come see it. That's really excited. Thank you.
We just want to make sure it's done for the scavenger hunt next year.
Right.
So,
By
no,
the way,
it's.
I love that idea. I think the AIPP, most cities don't do that, and to me, it's just kind of a, why do you have this public art if you're not going to,
Yeah.
lean into it? So
And we have
I think it's a wonderful idea.
tremendous pieces around the city, so.
I just drove to the city. You guys really do.
It's amazing, yeah. So, but no, thank you for your work as usual. It's spectacular, and thank you for the hospital for, for all you do, you're going to do in the future. And the contribution is, the numbers are pretty sizable. It's pretty amazing. But what we're going to get is going to be worth more than that $2 million. It's going to be spectacular. So thank you.
Thank you. I share the comments here with my colleagues, and do want to add, it is absolutely beautiful. I love the interaction and found the write-up, actually, that you did in our backup material with the engineering, the casting, and the lighting methodology quite interesting. So I appreciate that, that you put that into your application. Also, love the symbolism of the Tree of Life and the fact that you guys all chose that to be the piece of art, of course, with the bluebells and the interactive component of it. I think that's great. Who programs the lighting, and or is it on autopilot and it just moves when people move?
So the lighting team, EOS Light Media, will set up the whole, programming and algorithm for the lights and the time of day and things like that, and then we'll hand it over to the hospital where they can maintain it and have an administrator kind of run over that. But it should work, fluidly
Did
on
you hear
its
that?
own.
Should work.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if it didn't. But like I said, I've worked with EOS Light Media for many years now, and they really are some of the best lighting engineers I know. So.
Okay. And then also, is there a maintenance program? I know you did describe the how-to and what not to do for maintenance and the backup. Is there a program that, or is it just the hospital is the one that maintains that?
Are you regarding the lights?
The art, the actual art.
Yeah, usually what I would say is, and I've said this in the past for, say, the Palm Beach Blooms, when they do their annual cleaning of the site, you would actually, add the tree and the bluebells to that. Of course, if there's, obvious accumulation, but the great thing about, 316 marine grade with the satin finish, if you went to the Palm Beach Blooms now, they've been there for 3 years, Palm Beach Garden Blooms now, the finish is exactly the same, everyone touches it, but it still has that, remarkable shine. So.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Could we please then have a motion and a second?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 70, 2025.
I will happily second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Now we're moving on to Resolution 79. Would the clerk please read the title?
Resolution 79, 2025, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, expressing its support for the immediate construction of the State Road 7 extension and its support of the South Florida Water Management District and Florida Department of Transportation in their efforts to effectuate such same, further encouraging other Palm Beach County municipalities to do the same, providing for an effective date and for other purposes.
Thank you, Patty. And I think Ron wanted to read something into the record.
Thank you. I have been in touch with Councilman Kemp, and he has asked me to read something into the record for him because he is unable to make tonight's meeting, and he feels responsible for asking for this and feels bad that he's not here to support it, but I think you'll understand why. It says, "Good evening, Mayor, Council, and residents. I sincerely apologize for my absence tonight. Unfortunately, I've been dealing with an unexpected medical issue that has required multiple doctor visits and a recent hospital admission earlier this week. As of this evening, I may need to be readmitted for possible emergency surgery intervention. Throughout this process, I've remained in contact with City Manager Ferris to determine the best way to handle tonight's meeting. Up until this afternoon, I was planning on to attend. However, due to increasing pain and the likelihood of hospitalization, it is decided that for my health and recovery, I should not attend in person. That said, I want to strongly reaffirm my full support for Resolution 79, 2025. This initiative was originally brought forward at my request, and it remains deeply important to me. State Road 7 extension is critical to our city's future. We have a growing population in the western portion of Palm Beach Gardens that continues to be underserved by the lack of proper infrastructure. This summer's detours, some lasting over an hour, highlighted exactly how vulnerable our current road network is. State Road 7 extension has been planned for nearly 25 years, and it's long time past for it to move forward. I urge my colleagues to pass this resolution and send a clear, united message of support. Let's encourage our neighboring municipalities and county leaders to join us in demanding action on this long overdue project. In closing, I deeply regret missing this meeting. I assure you this is not by choice. My health situation has made it unavoidable. Whether from home or the hospital, I am watching online and remain fully engaged in our city's work. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other, anyone?
We should wish him well. John, if you're out there, we're
Yes.
thinking about you and hope you're recovering.
Absolutely. Okay, and I agree. I hope you feel better, and we miss you, and we understand fully why you're not here, but appreciate that, that message, and thank you for reading that. Okay. Since we have no other topics, we would like to make a motion and a second to approve
I'll make a
resolution.
motion to approve Resolution 79, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. And now moving on to items for council discussion and items of interest. And I think legislative priorities is first.
I could start out. So back in a month ago, almost, in September, the Florida League of Cities started their policy committee meetings, and I'm a member of one of the policies which overlap with, committees rather, which overlap with some of the other committees. And Max, I know you're on one of the committees, and I know Chelsea is as well.
Oh, sorry. There is I apologize to everybody, but I do have a comment card. Thank you, Patty, for our previous item, which was Resolution 79. I do want to call those folks up here, and I apologize, Dana. We all got ahead of ourselves, so I do apologize to both of you. I'm going to call the two people that put comment cards in. If you could please come up to the podium, state your name and address, and also if you've been, well, you don't have to be sworn in, so. Richard Vasilotti, I apologize if I got your name wrong, and then after that, it'll be Elizabeth Accomando. I apologize if I got your name pronounced incorrectly. Thank you.
Richard Vasilotti, 12839 70th Place North. Well, you just passed 4-0, so I can go. No need for me to talk. But anyways, and once again, I'm Richard. Thank you for allowing me to speak. 55-year West Palm native, 30 years in the acreage, 30 years I served with Palm Beach County Fire Rescue with Brother Kemp. Served on the TPA CAC, and I'm also an elected board supervisor for the Indian Trail Improvement District, where you are now our new neighbors to the north. Two things very important with this State Road 7. I'm encouraging you to pass it 4-0. Congratulations. Safety and first responders, because this is going to come up, and we know that West Palm's going to keep doing what they're doing. So as far as safety is concerned, as far as safety, and I truly believe this to be true with all my years of experience in the acreage, you're going to divert thousands of travelers every day east out of the acreage and east away from your developments of Avenir and Bay Hill, et cetera. So it's going to make, I believe, the roads much safer as far as it's concerned in that area. From a first responder point of view, the county, Gardens, City West Palm has an automatic aid agreement. And what happens with that is, and I know firsthand that we all back each other up. And it's very particular in that northwest area of the county where we have the municipalities and the county are together like that. So over my years, I've had some very, very serious crashes on North Lake. I've had residential structure fires in the surrounding area where we've had units from all three fire departments respond to that area. So we have our days when all heck breaks loose, and where are your units coming from? Well, sometimes you don't know, and a lot of times they're very far away. So with the completion of State Road 7, you got 3 fire stations in very close proximity to Okeechobee and State Road 7 that will be able to head north to Avenir, to Ibis, maybe east or west on North Lake Boulevard. So it's going to be crucial for decreasing response times. Also, something else to think about is also the decrease of hospital transport times. Certain patients need to go to certain facilities. We don't know what facilities are on bypass that day, and like I said, everything's very dynamic in the fire service. So when you have a straight shot down State Road 7, maybe from Avenir or Ibis, you know, you got Wellington Hospital down there, you got Palms West to the west on Southern, it's going to be crucial. So I personally believe State Road 7 will definitely save lives. It's going to add another evacuation route. It's going to decrease transport times, response times. And if anybody, obviously you passed 4-0, but if anybody ever had any concerns or wanted any further knowledge, I have a ton of knowledge, decades of hypocrisy about water contamination in the city. I know Councilmember Reed has heard me talk about this before, that I can give you a lot of insight that this is not an environmental issue. That is just something that's made up. So thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, I appreciate that, and hopefully the Coconut extension will be another reliever, which is actually under construction right now. Yep. Thank you, and I apologize for missing you guys, so.
It's quite all right.
Please state your name and address for the record.
It's Elizabeth Accomando, Loxahatchee, Florida. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, staff, thank you so much. I'd like to commend Councilman Kemp for bringing this forward and his leadership in bringing this forward. As my colleague stated, this is a crucial roadway. And we learned, as he mentioned earlier this summer, just how crucial it is when the CSX closure happened. And I thank you for the Coconut, because that would have saved the entire thing when we think about the resources that had to be spent. And when we found out about the closure, as the board president of the Indian Trail Improvement District, I called a special meeting, and I was very impressed that my meeting room was packed with IBIS residents who are in a panic. How do we get out? How do we get to a hospital? How do we get to our doctor's appointments? We never wanted to fight this. This was not their intention. The residents of Ibis, the majority of the residents of Ibis have wanted this road to go through. The acreage is trapped in so many ways. As my colleague said, the public safety factor alone is crucial. Is it the end-all, be-all of our traffic problems out west? No, we know that not to be true, but we're getting there, and there's plans in place, and I've got some great ideas. But I want to thank you, and I want to thank you for your vote, saying that it's done, and I will be more than happy to bring this to my board, although we do not have we're not a city, we are an improvement district. This affects our 427 miles of roads very much, and we are neighbors looking to live together. So I will bring this to my board and follow suit, and I hope that all the surrounding municipalities do the same, and we get this project going and done for the residents of the western communities. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, and I will add that we do have other mayors that have been waiting to hear what we were doing tonight, and they would like to do the same in their jurisdictions. So, thank you. And now, apologize for the pause, but if you could reconvene your comments.
We'll regroup. Okay. Let's change gears a little bit. So Florida League of Cities Policy Committee. So policy committee meetings started in September. There's 5 policy committees, which I am a member of one of them. Max is a member of one of them, as is Chelsea. And things move very quickly through these policy committee meetings. There's another one next week, next Friday, and then things come to a vote in December. And what's really bubbling to the top, so I really want to thank staff, because they were instrumental in providing some really key memos and data on the SB 180 and emergency management systems, and on the potential property tax implication, and on the 911 facility. And all of those memos I've been able to bring with me to Orlando and share. And everyone has been so thankful for those memos And Palm Beach Gardens just shines. You guys shine. Thank you for, being there to share this information. There's a lot of different municipalities from all over the state of Florida, and this information is being used and shared with all the other municipalities. So SB 180 is kind of bubbling up to the top. I was asked to speak and present next Friday, so Natalie, thank you for helping me with that. And so I just wanted to thank everybody for being involved with that and wanted to share that with everybody here. So.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Thank you for your work up there. It's not easy, but you seem to have a captive audience, so you definitely got them. I don't know how much you guys want to go into this. We have a couple of zombie bills that have come back, and it's going to be a really wild session, so I think we just need to, yes, sir?
We have a presentation for you tonight.
Even better, great, let's go.
At the last council meeting, you asked for an update on the legislative session. I was going to call Assistant to the City Manager, John Bohm, to the lectern, but he's already there. He has a presentation for you, and one of his many jobs is to keep track of all these legislative bills, where they're going, what they're doing, what their impact will be, working with our staff. Also with our lobbyist, Matt Forrest, as you know. He's in constant communications with them. So as you know, the legislature is in committee work now, and they will soon be going to their active process, and no one will be safe. So in order for you to have a little bit understanding of where we're going, he's provided you with some information with your packet to take a look at some of the issues that we think are going to be at top of the list for the legislature to deal with. And for that, he has a presentation to give you an overview of the information he's already provided.
Thank you. We look forward to
John,
hearing it.
take it away.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council. For the record, my name is John Bohm, Assistant to the City Manager. And tonight I'm going to give a brief overview of the 2026 legislative priorities for the City Council's discussion and input. So this is the upcoming schedule for the legislative session, and each member of the House of Representatives and Senate is assigned to specific committees that are in charge of particular topics, such as criminal justice, community affairs, transportation. Those committees began meeting this week to determine their priorities for the upcoming session. November 21st is the member bill submission deadline. So 6 weeks from now, we should have a much better idea of what this legislative session is looking like based on some of the bills that are filed in the time between now and then. January 13th is when the regular session begins. So that's when the committees formally begin meeting. They have their debates, they vote on legislative priorities, and you start to see kind of some of the action. And March 13th is the last regular day, scheduled day of the session. So for the city's legislative process, tonight is step one. City Council establishes the legislative priorities. From here, staff communicates the priorities to our city lobbyists for advocacy efforts. And so what advocacy efforts entail is our city lobbyists will meet with representatives, he'll attend committee meetings, and he'll voice our support and opposition to particular legislation throughout the session. Council members, as Vice Mayor Middleton just spoke to, also are very engaged with the Florida League of Cities to advocate for these priorities and other issues that pop up during the session. The city lobbyist also provides periodic updates to the council throughout the session and a final report on some of the most important bills that passed and did not pass throughout the 2026 legislative session. So, as I mentioned before, it's pretty early in the process, and that means that not many bills have been filed at that point. That being said, state leadership has identified these three on the screen here as they will definitively be addressed in the upcoming session. The most major pressing issue for the city and all other cities is property tax reform. That's been the governor's priority for the past 2 years. There was a House Select Committee that met to develop 5 options for potential reforms. At this point, there's not been a consensus on what that reform will look like. That being said, our finance staff has been great in working with the League of Cities to closely monitor this situation and stay very engaged on the advocacy efforts. The second one is centralized countywide dispatch. This was an initiative that was pushed last year by the Florida Sheriff's Association, and that would include creating a centralized 911 for the entire county. Now, the city, we are in charge of Northcom, which not only does dispatch for our city, but 5 other municipalities in North Palm Beach County. We believe it's a great system. There's a lot of reasons that using regional 911 centers provides better emergency response, and we'd like it to keep that way. And it's also worth noting the Florida Police Chiefs Association and Florida Fire Chiefs Association also oppose this legislation, and they're working with the Florida League of Cities on the same side to oppose this type of change. As Vice Mayor Middleton spoke to earlier, Senate Bill 180 from last year was a broad preemption that had some pretty wide-ranging preemptions to the city's land use and zoning. It created some financial burdens and also exposes the city to potential litigation. So this was bad legislation, and we're hoping to see some much-needed changes in the upcoming session. So since there haven't been many bills filed at this point, we have to take some more generalized approach to some of these priorities. First and foremost, home rule. We want to protect local decision-making. There doesn't need to be any preemptions to the state that takes away the power of our council and our citizens to make decisions that make sense for our community. We know our community better than anybody else. We know the unique needs and challenges of our community, so we'd like to keep that decision-making here locally. Sovereign immunity is another one that we believe should remain with reasonable liability caps to protect taxpayer funds. Local business taxes, which for the city, that means our business tax receipt program. Over the past 3 legislative sessions, there has been legislation filed to eliminate the business tax program altogether. We believe that the local business taxes are essential, and they're very important for public safety and for just making sure basic things, like when you go to a restaurant, you go to a nail salon, they're licensed, they're regulated businesses. They're up to fire code. They're doing things the right way in the public safety's interest. It's also worth noting that the city has now raised our fee for that business tax receipt program in 25 years. So this is very reasonable. It's a good public safety focused thing, and we believe that should be kept intact. Additionally, one of the newer topics that's come up that we anticipate to be addressed is open carry. So the court ruling created some significant ramifications in state law that the city believes need to be addressed legislatively, such as establishing prohibited places exemption. A big piece of the city's legislative process is appropriation requests. So that's when the city submits projects to the state for funding in the budget. So in the past, we've had some pretty good success with our stormwater program. That being said, over the past couple of years, the state's budget has been getting reduced, and it's been getting more and more competitive to get funding. Normally, how we look at these projects is we're looking at capital projects that are 5 to 10 years out. These are farther down the line, and we're looking for state funding to help expedite those much-needed capital improvements, but they take time to get to due to funding constraints. At our lobbyist direction, this year we came up with a variety of types of projects, and it's of his opinion that not only are we going to go after stormwater funding, but you should go after some of the other line items in the budget, such as economic development, roads, things like that, so that we have more opportunities. So what the city does is we submit our appropriation requests and backup documentation to the city lobbyist. He actually goes and meets with our local representatives. So on the House side, that's Meg Weinberger. On the Senate side, that is Mac Bernard or Gail Harrell, and they sponsor the legislation that ultimately ends up in the budget. So this team of people are advocating on our behalf and fighting for the budget dollars when the time comes, and we sincerely appreciate their support and all their hard work to try to get us limited funds for very important projects. This final slide shows just the list of appropriation requests that we have for this year. I'm not going to get into the details of each one, but I do want to point out that the top 2 are large projects, and the city got RCA Boulevard and Mary Circle within the past couple of years from Palm Beach County. And so we have these as identified capital projects to put in some pretty significant improvements to bring them up to the city standards. And that concludes my report this evening.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Baum?
Can we go back to last year? How much money did we get last year?
We did not receive any funding last year.
That's what I thought. So
Yes, sir.
Tell our representatives that some of these priorities are important to us, obviously, and we need to try to move some of these forward so
But we should all call them too.
Yeah, I know Matt does a good job Matt does a great job, but unfortunately, we shouldn't be shut out on some of the things we asked for. So hopefully we'll get some sort of reward this year from our legislative branch. So stay on them.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you for covering the change in the appropriation requests. It's hopeful, despite the fact that they've continued to slash their budget up there, that with this kind of a diverse opportunity for funding, we'd be able to get something that we do need. So, thank you.
Vice Mayor, I see you.
Yeah, no, thank you, John. You summarized things beautifully, and it is consistent with what's going on in Orlando with the discussions that we're having, and it's all about educating, educating, because, people don't realize how this impacts us at a local municipal level, so the more we can educate, the better. So thank you.
Thank you. I mean, I think asking for the appropriations is a no-brainer. Obtaining free money helps reduce our tax burden and achieves the voters' top 3 issues. The third issue for voters is to reduce government spending, and that actually helps do that. So that's a big deal. I know that when we were at the Florida League of Cities conference, they had us download the information, and I want to thank our staff, Arian, and I know Lori was on the list as well for the information, which was the financial information on the tax reform. Did we update it to include 2024 information as well, the year 2024? Because I know on the backup material it had up to 2023 in there.
The documentation that I provided, I used the figures for the tax roll for fiscal year 25.
So it's up to date,
so it's
current up to date. That's perfect. That's great. I appreciate that. And I agree 100% with asking for, exemptions for the open carry. I think that is super smart. And the local business tax, it allows us to not just safety is, of course, a top priority, but to make sure that we're protecting the adjacent neighbor residential communities if it's a use that's not permitted within an area. So it's absolutely something that we need to keep for our cities so that we can keep track of what businesses are where and making sure that exactly what you said. So I do appreciate that. And again, Senate Bill 180 is a huge attack on home rule, so that to me is a big deal. In fact, I was talking to somebody this morning after the PGA Corridor event, and we were talking about a comp plan amendment that was requested and sent to the state and denied by the state, which hasn't happened in a very long time just because of Senate Bill 180. So, and it was approved by their commission and staff, everybody, and it was denied by the state. So that was a big wake up as to what it can do for us. So appreciate all of those. I think these are great legislative priorities. Thank you. Okay. Does anybody else have anything else they want to discuss?
I just have one thing. I just want to thank the city manager and the city engineer, my buddy Todd Engel over there, for my stop sign lights. I drove down Holly today in Dahlia on the 4-way stop, and there's been lights that have been put in the ground for crossings because that's such a heavy school district with the high school and the elementary school on Holly Drive. And that 4-way stop doesn't have those. I know there's crossing guards, but it seems to be people tend to run through that stop sign sometimes, unfortunately. But now that the lights are up and bright and bouncy and everything, it looks fantastic. So it's the little things, Todd, I know, but to me, it's a safety thing. I live in that neighborhood, and people had mentioned to me before, sometimes they don't see that stop sign. I don't know why, but now if they can't see it, then we'll make sure the chief has some people over there to make sure they slow down, and they'll learn how to stop at that stop sign. So I appreciate, Ron, your help on that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Vice Mayor? Nope. Councilmember Reed? Okay. I just also want to commend Daniel and Natalie. You guys did a great job this morning in your presentation. As always, you are rock stars. You make us shine, and we appreciate all you do. And they did bring up, at the corridor presentation, they brought up the ice rink which was nice also, because I think people are getting excited about that. Can you just give me a brief, or us, I should say, a brief update on their finances and/or the development status? It's moving forward. Is there any updates that we need to be aware of?
Well, I don't have anything prepared for you tonight. We can put something together and get back to you on that.
Perfect. That would be great. Thank you. I appreciate that. And does the city attorney have a report?
Ma'am.
Okay, then we are adjourned. Thank you.